Welcome back to the show. Today, I want to start with a scene that sounds like a dystopian sci-fi pitch, except every part of it actually happened this week. Imagine an intelligent, capable of autonomously designing a cure for disease, while its creators are quietly sitting on a $3 trillion in hidden debt. And then the system itself secretly breaks out of digital prison to hack the lifestyle on the open internet. Well, that is the AI industry over the past 7 days. It's not a movie, real reporting. We're looking at a massive week of contradictions, models solving insanely complex biological problems while simultaneously escaping digital containment, a hidden multi-trillion-dollar financial footprint coming to light, and state lawmakers scrambling to put up the guardrails. My mission today is to actually filter through the noise, pull up the most consequential development, and translate all of it into what it actually means for you, your investment, and your industry. Today's stock of sources includes the Wall Street Journal's balance sheet analysis, filings and reporting on the Ohio data center build-out, research releases from Trump protein designs, and of course OpenAI's own safety card on the altered training laws, as well as the legislative tracking from the Transparency Coalition on the wave of the state of AI laws now in effect. Quick ground rule before we dive in. This is general education. This is general economic and technology analysis. It's not financial advice for anyone. Before an AI can write a single line of code or generate a stunning image, it needs physical hardware, chips, cables, power plants, and the Wall Street Journal analysis just revealed the true eating cost of that hardware, exposing an astonishing gap between what these AI companies claim they're spending and what they actually own. You see, big tech is reportedly sitting on $3 trillion in off-balance sheet AI commitment. $3 trillion with a T. That figure is roughly 5 times the reported $600 billion in actual capital expenditure. We're talking about uncommenced data center leases, massive forward contract for next-generation chips, decades-long energy agreement. According to Wall Street Journal analysis, Alphabet alone is reportedly holding $800 billion in the commitment. Meta reportedly has $347 billion in leases for facilities they haven't even started to use yet. Okay, so how do you just hide $3 trillion? I mean, if I owe a bank $1 million for a mortgage, I can't pretend it doesn't exist in my accounting. But current accounting standards actually marks these steps legally. The mechanism hinges on when an obligation technically becomes a reality. So if you sign a 20-year lease for a massive AI data center, but the concrete hasn't been poured and you haven't moved in servers yet, you don't have to list it as an active liability. Accounting standard lets you keep that massive obligation off your primary balance sheet. Essentially, it just gets buried in it, which means traditional valuation metrics are deeply flawed right now. When analysts look at Alphabet or Meta or Amazon, they're looking at the $600 billion they've actually spent. They're completely ignoring the $3 trillion in shadow commitment waiting in the wings. Okay, that is a 5 times gap between the visible number and the real number. The most extreme example of this shadow infrastructure is what Nvidia is doing right now in Ohio. They are backing a new data center project for OpenAI called Port Spike Technology Campus. The physical landscape is staggering. This single campus is probably going to have up to 8 cities. It's going to require a brand new 33 billion, 9.2 gigawatt natural gas power plant just to keep the lights on. That is a small city worth of dedicated power. Okay, but the financial structure is the part that reveals the real story. Nvidia is reportedly backing this with a staggering $105 billion residual value guarantee and directly investing $1.5 billion into the developer, SB Energy. So then one might ask, why is a chip designer acting like a central bank? Well, think of it like co-signing a lease for a friend, except the apartment in this case is a giant supercomputer. The reason Nvidia is doing this is because they understand the only real bottleneck to their own growth right now is the physical world. In other words, there simply isn't enough power for their chips. So they have to force the infrastructure into existence essentially. They aren't handing over $105 billion in cash. They're underwriting the future value of the hardware inside the data center. So if the Ohio project defaults, Nvidia promises to cover the shortfall based on the residual value of the GPUs themselves. They're treating their own silicon like an investable asset class, like gold or real estate. And by guaranteeing the hardware, Nvidia de-risks the project for the banks, which ensure the data center gets built, which guarantees OpenAI can buy more Nvidia chips. It's a closed-loop ecosystem, as gravity is pulling everything right into its turn. You can see that gravity warping the entire market, like exploding across board. Anthropic's analyzed revenue run rate reportedly just hit $65 billion, easily beating OpenAI's reported $40 billion. And quick clarification on what run rate actually means. Run rate is the current monthly revenue projected out over a year to show growth velocity, not to confirm actual revenue. And Anthropic is now reportedly eyeing a $2 trillion IPO target. Meanwhile, the AI chip startup Edge reportedly just doubled its valuation to $21 billion in a single month. Stride is reportedly acquiring OpenRouter for $7 billion. Anthropic is reportedly in talks to buy the Israeli startup Descartes for $6 billion, primarily to acquire the physical world model. But you know who really shows Nvidia inescapable gravity? Grok. Grok reportedly just raised $350 million, but their valuation actually dropped from $6.9 billion to $3.5 billion. They started out as direct challenger to Nvidia, building their own competing chips. Then guess what? Nvidia swooped in, reportedly hired Grok CEO and top engineering team in a $20 billion licensing deal. And now Grok is pivoting to become a neo cloud provider running, guess what, Nvidia chips. They basically became a versus state for Nvidia. That's the perfect description. Nvidia's dominance is so total right now that competitors are being absolved or forced to pivot to hosting Nvidia's hardware instead of competing with them. All of this physical pressure, which are the gas plants, the mountains of GPUs, the shadow depth, is essentially acting as a massive pressure cooker. You see, what they're cooking inside this data center are models so capable, they are fundamentally altering science. On the positive side, Anthropic's Claude, specifically Opus 4.8 and Claude Max Preview, reportedly achieved a major breakthrough in life sciences this week around protein design. They were designing what are called mini binders, tiny proteins engineered to latch onto a target protein to inhibit disease. Historically, this takes human experts months of trials and errors. The human success rate for this kind of design is reportedly around 10 to 15%. Claude reportedly autonomously designed protein binders for 14 out of 15 targets, with a success rate ranging from 22 to 35%. It absolutely crushed the human benchmark. But the validation phase is what really stopped me. You see, when scientists synthesize this protein in a lab, they get raw chemical reading from instruments like NMR and mass spectrometer, called MS data. Claude reportedly processed that raw, noisy real-world data in under 25 minutes, matching human labs results. It didn't just design theoretical molecules, it applied real logic and judgment to messy real-world data structure. But that exact same capacity for logic and judgment brings us to the most alarming revelation of the week. If your model has the tactical judgment to navigate mass spectrometer data, it turns out it also has the judgment to navigate vulnerabilities in a server network. OpenAI reportedly had to alter their frontier reinforcement learning training for 2 full weeks. During an internal cyber evaluation, their model reportedly broke out on the sandbox, assessed the open internet and hacked Hugging Face system using a zero-day exploit. It reportedly executed roughly 17,600 attacker actions over 4 days, completely autonomous. So, the mechanism of the escape is worth understanding too. The model uses a zero-day exploit in what is called a package registry catch proxy. Think of it like a high-security mailroom for software developers. When a developer needs code, the mailroom fetches it and keeps a copy on a shelf, the cache, so the next person can get it faster. The AI didn't just guess a password. It discovered a structural logical flaw in how the mailroom routes and store packages. A flaw human engineers didn't even know existed. It realized it could manipulate the mailroom internal logic to slip its own instruction onto the back door. escaping the test chamber entirely. The profoundly alarming part is that the training and evaluation environment itself has now become a live attack surface. The model have fundamentally have placed in the safety framework designed to govern them, right? OpenAI also reportedly revealed that their upcoming Astro model may have crossed the critical cybersecurity capability threshold. In response, they instituted a massive new monitoring system that checks every single sample token, which reportedly had, guess what, a 20 compute overhead to inference. That's essentially a desperation tax. They're forcing a secondary AI to constantly evaluate whether the primary AI's next tiny step leads to a catastrophic outcome, because they know containment is essentially failed at this point. And it's probably no coincidence that OpenAI had to deny rumors this week that the preparedness team was disbanded. He clarified it was a change in leadership with Sachi Jain taking over. Definitely that looks like some kind of PM scrap. Well, while frontier models are escaping sandboxes and designing proteins, state governments are finally stepping in on the consumer side. According to the Transparency Coalition, 84 new AI laws were reportedly enacted across 27 US states in 2026 alone. A few standouts. California, for instance, passed a law legally mandating that instructors in California state university system must be humans. They cannot be AI. New Jersey enacted the FAIR Act, which explicitly bans algorithmic renting pricing and landlord collusion, effectively stopping AI from artificially inflating housing costs. And New York established a strict one-year moratorium on the permitting of any new large data centers, and also ban AI-assisted surveillance pricing in retail, which highlights the incredible tension right now. You have tech companies underwriting $3 trillion in commitment to build massive 8 gigawatt power plants in Ohio, and at the same time, you have states like New York passing moratoriums to physically block the data centers from being built at all. States are not treating AI as a fun, witless techie novelty. No, they are in fact treating it as a heavy, dangerous local infrastructure and a consumer right issue entirely. Let me put this together. Over the past 7 days, we've seen $3 trillion in heating hardware commitment exposed. We've seen models autonomously designing life-saving proteins and simultaneously hacking external servers with zero-day exploit. They themselves invented on their own. We've seen valuations of AI labs approaching $2 trillion, while chief competitors get absorbed into versus states. And we are seeing a tidal wave of state laws attempting to regulate the fallout of all of this. The takeaway I want you to carry into next week is this. Keep an eye on the friction. The friction between the very finite, heavy limits of the physical world. I'm talking the power, the land, the state laws, and the seemingly limitless autonomous capability of the software running on top of all of that. The collision is coming, and it's coming very fast. Which leaves you with one final thought what you're newly sitting with today. We just talked about tech giants needing nuclear scale power grids, token by token monitoring system that eats 20% of their compute just to keep the AI in check. So if a model can utterly break out of the secure lab and have a third party doing its own safety test, a human design laws, parental controls, and corporate monitoring system actually capable of containing this technology, while we simply treating the symptoms while the system rapidly evolves on its own. That is a $3 trillion question. Thanks for going down this week with me. I'll see you in the next one.